Hi, everyone. Welcome to A&B Horror Movies. I'm Aaron,
I'm Ben.
and today we are very excited to be joined by Andrea Catinella and Alexander Butler.
Thank you for coming on.
How we doing, guys? You okay?
Thank you
Brilliant.
for
We're doing
inviting us.
well.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you.
thank you
Good.
for coming on. We have you both on today to talk about your brand new film, Piglet.
Beautiful. Can you believe it's been 10 years since we've been here? Hello? We went to the cabins for the weekend.
Hello there.
Oh my god.
Are you the girl I spoke to earlier?
It's her 21st birthday. Cheers.
Bad things happen to people who visit that camp.
There was a wonderful man rejected by his family. He was affectionately called the Piglet. Piglet? What kind of name is that?
I just thought I saw his car.
Look, he would be insane if he showed up.
But he is insane.
I've got us some girls renting the camp for the weekend. You choose whichever you want. We'll put the rest in the freezer. Whatever beast did this to him left him with some gnarly marks.
Guys! Don't move closer. Hey, you can wait for us.
You really had nothing to worry.
Nothing good ever happens.
Stop me! Turn it back! You big pig! You couldn't get me!
Congratulations. What a fun slasher, throwback to 80s films. Um, it was a fun watch.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It
Yes,
was it was definitely fun to make anyway.
absolutely. And we could tell, and you could tell from watching it. So, Andrea, you were the director, the mastermind behind Piglet, and Alex, you played Piglet, the killer in your film. Congratulations. We can't wait to chat with you both about it. So, with that, Ben, I'll let you ask the first question.
Yeah, this would be for Andrea. Really, where did the idea come for this? For you to want to make this movie?
Well, I was the director, and I received the script from ITN. The first time I read the script, I knew already about public domain movies, but the first time I read the script, I was like, wow, that's interesting, and it's like kind of fun. I always like the idea of, having one of those characters becoming like a slasher, a killer, or like, having like this new identity. And I was quite enthusiastic, and I was already thinking on how can we can make like Piglet different from other movies. What like and The first few things that came to my mind was like these 80s, 90s slasher horror films that we are
Mhm.
all passionate about, and that's where Piglet comes from, let's say.
Right.
Yes. Oh, awesome. I'm loving the new fairy tale subgenre in horror. But before I get to my question about that, can you speak a little bit to what the casting process was like? And Alex, how did you become involved with the film?
Well, for me, I was like every actor working part-time because you're always waiting for another job. And I was at my part-time job and I literally just on a break and I had an email come through from the
Mhm.
production company and it was, are you free next week to start this film? You'll be playing Piglet. And that was literally it. There was no audition process or anything. I don't know if they had anyone in mind beforehand, but it was literally just an email from the producer, and that was it. And it was like, yes, please, thank you very much. Where do you
You
need
just
me to
think
be?
oh, yeah,
It
then.
was Yeah.
Sorry.
I didn't think Disney got hold of you then.
Yeah,
Maybe next, right?
Oh,
Right. That's
maybe
fantastic
that'll be nice.
that they knew immediately that you would be perfect for Piglet. Andrea, how involved were you with the casting process?
well, yes, it was quite fun, especially when casting Alex. I had the casting director, she sent me like a few options. And of course, like these options, they were all valuable option. I had
Mhm.
all these like, let's say, big, massive guys that they were like, all of them, like, by just looking at a bunch of picture and Mandy profiles and Spotlight profiles, all of them was like the right fit to play Piglet. Uh, I went like with Alex because I pointed out Alex to the casting producer, to Renee, and I said, uh, listen, I don't know, like this guy, he maybe there was something about Alex. It was something that because like you see Alex and he's almost like tall, massive guy, and then he has like this warm smile, and and I was able to spot that from the picture, and I was like, I'm really curious on how this guy can, because he has like this, he can play both the nice guy and the killer. He could play in my mind. So I went to the casting director and say, hey, I like him. She was like, I like him as well. And I remember actually, Alex, the first time we met on set, that we met, me and Alex on set. We had the costume in front of us. He had to try his costume. And we started having a conversation about Piglet, about how he can portray Piglet. And since the first 5 minutes, I'm like, it's him, but it's going to be fun. And I felt like Piglet, by meeting Alex, I'm like, Piglet has a soul now.
Mm.
I really felt this like first 5 minutes chatting with Alex.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I remember the conversation because the week leading up to the filming, we were having a problem with me getting the right sort of costume, the right sort of boiler suit. Because me being an odd shape and size, certain products would not fit me. It just wouldn't look good enough. And the one that we'd all agreed on that would have been right went missing in the post. So we had to kind of get one delivered to the set for the first day. And we were all panicking, like, God, I hope this costume arrives. And as luck would have it, as soon as I pulled up, the delivery guy was there with with my parcel. So I just collected it, walked up to them, met Andrea, and straight away we said, right, I've got the costume. We got it out, and you could see that there was a big sense of relief on all our faces that this costume had arrived on time. And
That's
like Andrea
fantastic.
says, yeah, we had that conversation, and we sort of clicked straight away. We both knew what each other wanted from the character, and and really, apart from that, we didn't really have to do much else in terms of character development then, because we both knew where the other one was going with it, and what the next step was in terms of thinking about how we would approach a scene, and it was so easy to work with
Awesome.
Andrea in that sense.
So
Yeah, that's awesome. Ben, I just wanted to jump in quickly. The costume turned out perfectly. We'll show the poster
Yeah.
in the edit here, but it all came together well. And Ben, I will let you ask your question.
no, I was just going to say, as you said, you were both sort of like on the same page for the character. Did you just have an open rein to go, right, this is how I'll do this character? You just kind of knew what you wanted, or did you have a bit of a chat between you and say, oh, I'd rather you be this kind of way, or move a bit slower, or...
For me, it all came from that first conversation because
Yeah.
the traditional slashers was part of that conversation, and we both knew how those slashers work when you've got that, that killer following everyone in the woods. So when 80s slashers was mentioned, I knew straight away that this is what Andrea wants. He's going to want this. He's going to want that. And obviously in scenes we tried a couple of things, and we tried it many different ways to see what worked and what didn't. Um, and we had so much fun trying out lots of different things. Um, and it worked for me. It worked really well.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Can I ask how tall you are?
Sorry.
Can I ask you how tall you are?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a giant. I'm 6'2",
But
but I'm probably 6'2". I'm probably 6'2" wide as well.
It's tall. I think that's tall.
It
Cool.
is, yeah.
It's tall over here, yeah.
Yeah. It is in my village anyway.
Andrea, were you going to add anything, or I'll jump in?
Well, yeah, I mean, point with Alex, because I feel like Alex did such a great job on portraying Piglet. The entire point, I can start even by the costume, because like I sent like a sort of costume board to the producer on the kind of costume that I wanted, and there's not like much to add because you already have Piglet as a character. So I thought how we can make this, I don't want to say unique, but how we can make this like a little bit different. That if I'm like someone who want to watch a public domain slasher movie, and instead of going, how to pick Piglet. So I took like I created a sort of mood board with costume, with the apron. I wanted the apron. I like the idea of the chain around his neck. And I remember like the day I was watching like a few slasher movies, including, sorry, Friday the 13th. And a movie that came to my mind was actually Hostel.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever watched Hostel, right?
Yep.
So first time I watched Hostel, I was like 12, around 12, 13 years old. And I felt like, it was kind of traumatizing for me on how rough, like how disgusting was that movie. But at the same time, it was fun. And even the main character, I feel like there was a scene that is wearing this apron, and I'm like, oh, this can be the right reference. And I don't know how in my mind I associated something with the character eating, because he was eating with his hands. There's like the scene that he meet the guy on the train, and he was eating with his hands.
Yes.
Instead of using fork, and I associated him with the pig. And when we had the first chat on set, I felt like Piglet needed to have this kind of gore element, this kind of very disgusting element, but at the same time, it needed to be a little bit hilarious, the way he kills people, the way every kill like had to be like a little bit comical, which sometimes works when it comes for horror films, especially when it comes to slasher. And we had this initial conversation, and for me, the way I work with actors is that I want to give them room for creativity, because they own the character. Once Alex put his mask on, Piglet becomes his own character. So I can give him like just a direction. Then he will add something. And what I loved from him is that, like, when we were on set, he kept adding things. And even things that I was saying, like, there was a scene that I told him, like, Alex, I really like him. If you appears, there was like this girl was, without spoiler, right? This girl runs in the forest, you appear, jump scare. And I explained him the situation, and then I was watching behind the monitor, and just watching him adding a gesture, raising his hands, or even adding the pig sound. For me, it was like he was embodying the character properly, and it was even better than how I saw it in my mind. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's amazing.
Always a bonus, yeah. Always a
Yeah,
bonus.
bless you. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it definitely is a slasher, and Alex, you are incredible as Piglet.
Thank you.
Some very serious moments too. I mean, I guess as far as a slasher film can go, there's the hot tub scene, there's the shower kill scene. Got to have a shower kill scene. My question for both of you is: it seems, I mean, it's a fun watch, but it also seems like in between takes that you were probably having a lot of fun on set. I understand that you filmed this in 10 days, so that's a very intense filming schedule. But what was it like on set? Was it as fun creating this film as it was perhaps watching it from our perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. We for the first 3, 4 days in the cabins, the cast had their own cabin and crew had their own cabin. So we were both our little families in a way. You know, we were never met each other before in our lives, and all of a sudden we're all housemates. So it was like, right, we
Oh,
need to
that's
know,
awesome.
yeah, how everyone is, but our cabin is next to their cabin, and you know, it's a 10-second walk in between each other. So you could be chilling out in your room, in full costume, just having a bit of a, you know, a cup of tea, a coffee, and then Max, the runner, he would come in and go, right, we're going to need you in 5 minutes. Go, right, okay, get your shoes back on. So it was a lot of coming and going from the set to the cabins. But like you said, there was so much fun and everyone was chilled and everyone was incredibly professional because the other girls, because they had all their dialogue, they will be sitting around with their scripts in between and sitting and having their conversations and sorting their scenes out together. So they were ready and made life incredibly easy when they were on set. And the same with the crew as well. I can't remember who had there was a go-kart there, wasn't there?
who?
Someone had a go-kart. I can't remember who it
Oh
was.
yeah, it was the first AC.
First, yeah, and so he was just sat in a go-kart and just riding around on
Benjamin.
this go-kart with all his equipment and everything. And I was like, this is just brilliant. It was just it was a family affair, if you like. It was just a group of random people that came together and just became this family, and everyone got on with each other, and we just had so much fun.
I
We
love that.
really,
Okay.
really did.
And I love that you all stayed on site. So there's like there are cabins in the woods and that you all stayed there while you were making the film. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
I
So
thought about keeping the costume on and scaring people throughout the night, but I was too tired.
For the
you,
sequel. Go ahead.
Sequel.
oh, yeah. So you're saying about the cabins all quite close together and um obviously on site of filming. What was the furthest that you filmed away from the cabins? To either of you want to answer?
Which one? Sorry.
What was the furthest that you had filmed away from the cabins? Because it all seemed quite close quarters, but there was a lot of in a way, a lot of different scenery as well.
No, yeah, there was like a few scenes that we filmed in Wilding Woods, which was 1 hour and a half, I would say,
Yeah.
away from the cabin, and we went to Lewis. The thing with the cabin is like, yes, we had 10 days, but also on top of those 10 days, we had that for like after the first 3 or 4 days, we had
Mhm.
to leave the cabin because we had the cabin booked for 4 days, and then those cabin were like booked already from other people for those 2 days, and then we had to come back to the cabin the last 4 days, and so we packed everything the fourth day. We went to Wilding Woods, we filmed the scene in Wilding Woods, and then we came back and reset all the cabin, reset I had a production designer. She had like a picture with how everything was. So it was quite hectic. So I would say, yeah, the further away was like 1 hour, 1 hour and a half from our cabin.
You should have left one of the props in the cabin. I'd have loved to see someone's face going to see that after.
I'm pretty sure someone found something. I'm pretty sure someone found something. I'm sure about that.
100%.
Like
Just a finger or something.
Yeah, probably someone's foot or something.
Yeah, that's amazing. I have sort of a fun question. So we've been seeing a lot of fairy tale horror movies coming out, let's say. It's becoming a whole new subgenre right now. You are a part of that with Piglet. What are your thoughts on this new trend in, I guess, fairy tale horror movies? And is there one that hasn't been made that you would like to make or be a part of?
Yeah, for me, I don't have any problem with the whole twisted childhood universe thing. I think that
Mhm.
most of the original, well, the Disney-fied childhood universe was, it was all very cutesy, boy meets girl, but the original stories that they were based on are very gruesome and grim. So they're just kind of returning to their original setting, if you like, but in with a more modern twist. So I don't see any problem. It's just a retelling of a horrible, grim story. Um, in terms of what would I like to see? Oh,
What were some of your childhood? I'd like to see
yeah.
the Fox and the Hound. That would be fun, right? They're
Oh,
like
interesting.
rabid. That'd be fun.
Yeah, yeah.
That was one of my favorites as a kid. So,
Yeah. I don't know.
and
Yeah.
well, we can come back to it. Andrea, I know you
Yeah,
have some new
leave it with me.
movies,
I'll have a think.
some new movies coming out, including Hook, Mouseboat Massacre, Bait. I'm not sure if that's fairy tale
Yes,
themed,
yes.
but
Uh, for me, like when it comes to public domain horror movies, and I said this already in another podcast. When I received like Piglet script, I was filming Bait, and which is like a horror slasher, deeper movie, where it's like very psychological, other
Mhm.
than graphic violence. And when I read the script, when I read Piglet's script, Hook and Mouse both they came after, but Piglet was like, the first time I was approaching the public domain. And I never like I watched those Winnie the Pooh and other movies. And Alex said something, of course, interesting that these stories they weren't like from Disney. They weren't all these like fairy tale. They were like actually brutal story. If you think like Pinocchio, for example, is an Italian story from Carlo Collodi, but the initial story has a very deep subject and it's very traumatic. And for us, when like every Italian kid can tell you they had like trauma from listening Pinocchio story because it was like warning kids. So and every of these fairy tale in past time they were there to warn kids, don't go with strangers, don't and so for me I have nothing against actually it's let's say um it's a new wave, and if more filmmaker can approach them, absolutely. For me, it was especially when I came to my mind when I had Piglet, it was all about 80s and 90s movie. I'm a passionate about 80s horror movies or action movies, and I remember when I had the first conversation with my DP and I told him how I wanted the mood and the color for Piglet. All the discussion was about horror movies. And I can also tell you that I think there's like a need to go back a little bit on those 80s movies, especially when it comes to independent cinema. Indie filmmaking is somehow hinting at horror, 80s horror movies, especially maybe because they were like pretty artisanal. They were like no CGI. Everything was special effects on set. Hello.
She's gone.
Oh, she's gone. We had a guest.
She's gone. She's in and out.
Ah,
But yes, no, absolutely.
the real practical effects, right? Those.
Exactly. If you like, I still watch some of behind the scene of The Exorcist, for example. Everything was done on set. Everything was creative, and listening the crew, trying to have all these conversation, how we can achieve this effect, how we can make this scary with the resources that we had. It's the same conversation that we had on Piglet. This is the budget that we have. These are the location that we have. How we can make this. And I think like it makes even better. So I have really nothing against. And it's a fun watch. I used to watch those kind of movies where I was like 14, 15, and I used to watch them with my friends. Some beers, chips, and they're quite fun. What I want to see next, I really don't know. I feel like someone will start moving because some of the characters will leave public domain soon. So I feel like there will be another cycle where someone will move into Marvel or DC characters, and that would be like something crazy, especially when it comes to character like Batman.
Oh wow, yeah, I haven't even thought about that. Lady and the Tramp is another Disney one that comes to mind. They could be rabid animals too, right? Bring like a Cujo aspect to it, and also a love story in there.
Yeah, they could use intestines instead of spaghetti.
Yes. Oh man, so romantic.
Just give your idea away. Write them down.
Giving you some ideas. Yeah.
I think, no, just going back to that, I don't know, I think Beauty and the Beast would be quite good. Just because obviously when you think about all the characters within Beauty and the Beast, especially the Disney version of it, you've got all the inanimate objects. You've got a candlestick, you've got a clock, you've got a wardrobe, and they're all got their own personality. So I think that would be great if they were all kind of.
Yes. And it already has like horrific elements too with the Beast, right?
Exactly.
So Mary Poppins would be good. She gets so fed up with the kids.
Very good.
I guess we've had killer nannies though. That's been done. Go ahead, Ben.
This would be to both of you. Obviously, you've got the new, as Aaron said, you've got some new genre of fairy tale horror being made. What are both of your thoughts on bringing back old franchises, remaking them, rebooting them? Basically, everything's already been done. I just wondered what your thoughts were on that.
Like the new Exorcist, right?
Sorry. Pardon?
I said like the new Exorcist, right?
Oh, yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Interesting question. Alex, if you want to go faster, I have like
no pressure. For me, I'm a big fan of don't mess with the classics.
Yeah.
But with the way filmmaking has grown and developed, sometimes you're able to add more to a classic. It's great with the traditional 80s slashers, like Andrea said, when you're using special effects on site.
Yeah.
And being able to think on your feet, well, what if we did this and do it there and have the practical element of it? And there's something brilliant about that. But in order to remake a classic with today's technology, sometimes it can make it look fantastic. But I think sometimes we're in danger of losing a bit of the story just by making something look good.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of keeping the classics as classics.
Yeah, same.
But I understand the need to remake them for modern audiences.
Yeah. But I think there's some classics that stand the test of time that maybe don't need to be remade.
Yeah, but I mean, you wouldn't remake ET, for example.
No,
You couldn't.
or Jaws.
Or Jaws,
Jaws,
although
yeah.
Meg is Jaws, isn't it? In a rip-off version.
Yeah, it's all right. um,
Yeah, what
In
are
In
your
my
thoughts?
in my opinion, I agree with Alex. There are some classics that I will never touch. Like I mentioned the Exorcist. For me, the first one was like for me, it's one of the best movies of all time. It's like literally in my top five. And there are like some example of classics that they have been touched and they're like, I don't want to say even better, but they're like great example. I don't know if you can see the poster, but I'm a huge fan of Pennywise the Clown. I read the book, I watched the whole TV series, and I even like the two most recent films. I mean, I liked more the first one than the second one, but the second one wasn't even that bad. It was like it was there because it was needed to fill some gaps in the story, and even the actor who portrayed the new Pennywise, he did a brilliant job. Costume, everything was perfect. Everything was like wasn't taking anything from like the previous TV series, but it was maybe adding some value. And I also believe the sentence, yes, it has already been told, but not by you. But at the same time, there are like classic that I would say I call them handle with care. Don't touch them. Don't make the reboot. Don't make the remake. Just take something from them. And I was saying in an interview, there are classic. I grew up with like 90s horror movies and video games, and I was talking in a podcast how I'm a massive fan of Resident Evil or Silent Hill. They were like popular games in the 90s, and their cinematic adaptation, despite me being a huge fan of Mila Jovovich, and they weren't that great. And
it was true to the game.
yeah, and the more they make, and the more and the worse they get. I mean, I like the first Silent Hill movie. It was like a good adaptation. I gotta be honest. But then they did the second, and I'm like, no, please don't. But now I just read an article that someone is actually doing like another Silent Hill movie. So maybe there are some classics that you can touch, and some classics that you kind of just take inspiration from them. These are like it's like I refer to this movie where there is like horror, action, or other genre as like if you're having a conversation with an old wise person, you get like you cannot like leave those experience, but you can take the best out of the recommendation. So it's like having this kind of chat. And I'm currently writing thriller horror movies, where I'm like taking a little bit from those movie classic. So yes, I agree. There are some classic things. Don't touch them. Just don't. But take what you can from them. Absorb.
So here's a question for you. If you got given the chance to direct a movie based on a video game, which video game would you like to make a movie on?
Well, definitely Silent Hill 2.
Okay.
And like that would be like my dream project, and that would be the kind of movie where I would just lock myself in for like maybe months and cut and like not answer any message, of course, because I feel like no one has ever tried to portray the story into a film. It's like it's a very complex story, and even for the time where video games were like just a bunch of pixels, and it's like it's a very complex and deep story. So yes, definitely.
Alex, is there a video game movie you'd like to be in? You might not have ever played games, so Some people don't.
No, I have. I'm just trying to, worms.
Well, it's a
I
good
love
answer. It's a
worms.
good answer.
The
Yeah,
worms
Good
is
answer.
I
great.
like that.
Just
Yeah.
some army bound worms. That'd be fantastic. Trying to blow each other up.
That would be fun.
That
I'd
would be a
watch
great
that.
movie.
That would be good. We do want to get to this or that, but I want to ask if you had to pick, what is your favorite slasher of all time? If you could just pick one. I probably should have given you a heads up on this question.
After you, Andrea, this one.
Well. I have some titles. I have some titles. It's
Your
always
top
difficult.
slashers.
Yeah, exactly. It's always difficult for me to say just one. I have a top three.
Okay.
One is Freddy versus Jason.
Mhm.
That's a
Another
blast.
one
That's a fun
is
one.
another one is of course Hostel.
Hmm.
And if I can consider this a slasher, I don't know. I think we can consider it a slasher. Uh, Alien or Alien versus Predator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Slasher elements. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great films. Freddy versus Jason is an example of, I mean, it's kind of a remake, but it took the stories that we know so well and presented it in a new way. And I think that's what remakes have to do to be successful.
Exactly.
Take some risks
And
and be true to the story, but take some risks.
yeah, you know what I liked from Freddy versus Jason and why I started with this movie instead of the other Freddy Krueger or Jason movies? Because yes, they did something different, and it's something that I tried to do with Piglet as well. Maybe like Freddy versus Jason was actually one of the reference that I had in my mood board. Piglet hints a little bit more at the action fun vibe by keeping the horror and the gore and the blood element. And it's the same thing that Freddy vs. Jason tries to do. There's like a fantastic fighting scene between them two. Because in reality, if you think all these slasher movies, they're not. I mean, personally, I don't get scared. I never go scared. Or maybe it's me. I mean, like even The Exorcist, I used to be a huge fan of The Exorcist when I was 8 years old, and I never got scared. And but I love the fun element, and I had these memories in my mind where, as I said before, it was like me and a bunch of friends, and it's like, hey, listen, it's Friday night, it's raining, let's just grab some beers and let's watch some movies. And usually you watch like horror slasher movies that is like kind of fun, and some of the kills are like so absurd that they are like quite fun, and that's what I loved from Freddy versus Jason. It's like it's more absurd in a way.
Yeah.
Also,
I still love doing that now. Friday night horror movies and some beers. So
can I also just say,
go ahead.
We're not telling 8-year-olds to go and get any beers here, neither.
No. That was what I was. That was what.
Root,
Sorry, that
root
was what
beers.
I was.
No, I don't.
But
Yeah.
Oh, Alex, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, no, I think for me, I really enjoyed in the old school slashers. I really enjoyed like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Hills of Eyes, things like that. Because
yes,
as far-fetched as they seem, is it really? Are they? Because you don't know, do you? Like especially in America, it's such a massive place.
Yeah.
You don't know, anything could be happening in areas where no one goes.
Well,
for sure.
I kind of that's what made them so strong at the time, was maybe they did have a realistic kind of vibe to them. There was a reality.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of slashers from back then, those are probably my two sort of go-tos, if you like. Even though it was made a while ago now, the more modern slasher, I don't know, I think American Psycho.
Okay.
If we could class American Psycho as a slasher, would probably be up there, just because I think it took me about 5-6 times watching that before I actually understood what was going on.
Yeah.
And I think that it's good with the psychological aspect of it, that it makes you think
Yes, great book
Okay.
too. I read that book when I was taking public transportation at the time, and I held it down because I didn't want anyone on the train to see what I was reading.
And I think like they're actually making a remake of directed by Luca Guadagnino. It's not
Right.
like it's not
Oh,
100% confirmed, but there are like some rumors of another American Psycho, this time directed by Guadagnino. It's not like 100% confirmed. Just have the rumors.
hopefully better than the sequels that came out.
Yes.
Why don't we, Ben? Did you have something to add? You want to get right into
No,
this
that's
or that?
cool. Yeah,
All
go
right.
to this.
Cool. So this or that, we do this every time. It's kind of fun. You just pick one or the other. There's no right or wrong answer. And Andrea, you're probably going to laugh at this first one that we chose, and that is Resident Evil or Underworld.
Oh, Resident Evil.
I knew you'd say that now that we've been chatting. Yes. Okay, Resident Evil, both. Ben, do you want to go? Do you have the
Yeah,
list? Yeah.
Game of darts or a game of pool?
Pool for me.
Cool.
What
Andre?
did you say, Andrea? I didn't hear you.
Okay. No, same. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Cool.
Let's see. A couple new ones here. Eli Roth's Thanksgiving or Adam Green's Hatchet?
Alex, you want to go first or should I go first? For me, Eli Roth, Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, yeah. A good one.
Yeah, I'll have to
Victor
agree.
Crowley. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. That was tough, that one.
Yeah.
Revenge movie or a crime thriller?
Revenge.
Yeah, I'd go that.
Hmm.
So I do like thriller.
Yeah.
100%. 100% revenge
100%.
movies.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
okay. Yeah, there's some great ones out there. Warlock or Wishmaster? Going back to some 90s. Although Warlock, I think, might have been late 80s.
Wishmaster.
It's quite complicated. I agree on that one. Wishmaster. Yeah, Wishmaster.
Wishmaster. Okay.
Same
Yeah.
Warlock, actually. I've never.
No?
Have you
There
never
you
seen
go.
Warlock? Oh, it's great. Julian Sands.
Saturday night movie for you.
I think it was.
Yeah, it's a fun one. Time travel.
Cool. Friday the 13th, part 1 or part 2?
Original for me, part 1.
Part
Andrea?
one, same.
Part
Part one, same.
Oh,
Always
yeah.
part one.
Oh, I love it, right? Mrs. Voorhees. Jason was my son. Can't beat it. Ben, we should have saved this one for you. Crisps or chips?
Crisps.
Chris.
Oh, that would be potato chips, right?
It's crisps.
Crisps. Okay.
Crisps as well.
Yeah,
Crisps as
okay.
well. I don't like chips. I actually don't like chips.
No,
No,
chip shop
okay.
chips.
See, that's what I'd say. Chip shop chips. It would be
Chip
chips.
shop chips, yeah.
Yeah.
But
And then crisps. Yeah.
Well,
There
now
you
I'm
are.
confused. Crisps are like,
Crisps are like what you get in a packet, crunchy. Then
yeah, okay.
you'd say I'm going down the local chip shop to go and get some chips with
That's
fish
like
and
French
chips.
fries. Okay.
You'd say, yeah,
What
but
we call French fries.
yeah, but what a French fry is like skinny. If we go to
Yeah,
a
skinny.
chip shop, we want a thick, like
Like a
chippy
steak
chip.
fry.
Yeah,
Chippy chip.
steak fries. Mad, isn't it?
Let's move on. Ben, I think over to you.
Yeah. Chopping mall or intruder? This is a hard one, actually.
it really is.
Yeah, I don't know which one I would go with.
I
I'm happy to sit on the fence on that one.
Yeah, I'd go both. I don't think I could choose. They're both pretty good.
Yeah.
agree. On this one, I just follow Alex.
Okay. So both. There we go. Let's see. The Twilight Zone or Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
I'm going Twilight Zone. just because I think I grew up like with watching the X-Files and things like that. And
Yeah.
I think when I think about the Twilight Zone, when my dad made me watch it as a kid, they're very similar. So I'm going to go with Twilight Zone.
Good choice.
How about you,
On
Andrea?
this one, I have to go for Hitchcock. There's some nostalgia moments from Hitchcock Presents. I used to watch them with my auntie, and they used to.
Cool.
They remind me like whole times when I was like
Yeah.
way younger. So I have to go with Hitchcock.
Oh, that's
Cool.
amazing.
We always end with this one. The original Halloween or Jaws?
How dare you? Jaws.
Andrea?
I have to go with Jaws as well. It was like I feel like it was Jaws in a way. Like it was like a sort of revolution, if you think.
Yeah.
Like as like I don't know if we can consider it a slasher or it has like many genre, right? And I think like it was a Spielberg as well. It was like the first time we had like blockbusters movies, and Jaws is like one of the perfect representations. So Jaws all the time.
Yeah, of course. Well, those are our favorite movies. So you can see Ben's jaws crying behind him. And I've got a little bit of a Halloween thing. But, a few guests we've had on had said you wouldn't have had Halloween if you didn't have Jaws. So I think that's a very
That's
interesting
true.
observation there. So
can I tell you something? Can I add something when it comes to
Please
Halloween or like this kind of horror movies? I know like there are like so many people passionate with Halloween. I feel like these are two movies that I forgot to add to the previous list. But I would always like there is Halloween reminds me, I don't know how, of two Tarantino's B movie, which are like Planet Terror and Green Downs. So always like I will always put like Halloween on the side and just think about them.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. Good shout. Yeah, those are great films. Let's see. Well, thank you both for coming on. Congratulations on Piglet. Piglet is streaming now. You can rent it. Will we ever get a physical copy, or is it too soon to tell if there will be a Blu-ray release?
I hope so.
Do you know? Yeah, we hope so too.
This like I think like we will find out soon. We will find out
soon. All right. Well, let us know, and yeah, hopefully we'll be on the list to let us know. And I guess how can folks find you on social media if you want to be found?
Yep. Our Instagram is aka_the_big_man.
Love it.
Mine is IAM_AMC.
Yes, and that's how we found each other on Instagram. So thanks again for coming on. If you're watching, make sure to check out Piglet. Ben, do you want to do the quick closing?
Yeah, Alex, Andrea, thank you both for coming on. Congratulations with the movie. I hope you have a lot of success with your future projects as well. And if anybody wants to check us out, go over to Instagram, A&B Horror Movies. If you've come across this video, hit the like and subscribe because it helps the channel. And thank you to everyone who's watching. And again, Alex and Andrea.
Thank you for having us.
So much. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Fun. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.